everyone, and welcome back to Learning to Be Prepared. My name is Jeremy. Today I want to show you another item that I like to carry in my EDC on my personal body, and that is a tactical pen. There are numerous different companies that make tactical pens, but there's one company that I've been using for about 2 to 3 years now, and that company is called Uzi. Uzi has a large variety of tactical pens. The one that I'm going to show you today is the Uzi Tactical Striker Pen number 11. It comes in 2 different colors. It comes in black and gray. So I like to wear mine right here on my shirt. When I'm wearing a suit, I wear it in the same spot and I wear my tie over it. The reason I like carrying a pen with me is, one, I can use it for literally writing just like a normal pen. The second reason I like to use it as a possible defense mechanism. Now, I don't condone fighting, but if you find yourself in a situation that you can't get out of, you have an option to use that you could help deter yourself from having to get physical with someone, or if you had no choice and you had to defend yourself, it gives you an item on your body that you could use to try to intimidate or use against your enemy. So without further ado, here it is. This is going to be the Uzi Tactical Striker Pen number 11. This is going to be in the gray color. The cap on it has a flat tip on it, so you could use it to just kind of tap somebody. When you take the cap off, it has your writing utensil right underneath there. This has a very nice snap to it. And on the opposite end of it, it has a striker. And that's what I really like about this. I'll put my hand on it to kind of show you exactly what it looks like here. The other thing that I like about this pen is that I like these little grooves in it. This fits my hand perfectly when I'm writing. Also, when you're holding it like this, your fingers have little places to go in between this knurling here, and it really gives you a nice grip on the pen. The reason I like to carry it right here in between the buttons of my shirt is I do talk with my hands a lot. So if I tie my hands behind my back, I may not be able to speak. But I like it because if I need to grab it, it comes out pretty quickly. Now, I also have a lot of times where I carry it in my front pocket of my pants as well. And it has a nice pocket clip on it, so it keeps it in place. This tactical pen runs $31.99 on the Uzi website. It comes in the 2 colors, as I mentioned earlier, the silver or gray, and then the black. So I have both of them here. I'll show you the black one right here. And once again, I'll show you the gray. This is absolutely one of my favorite pens. I have 3 of them, and all 3 of them are a little bit different. Now this one is, these 2 are the same because when I first bought this pen, I brought it home, and when I opened it up, I noticed that the ink refill or the ink cartridge inside of it was cracked. I called up Uzi, I explained the situation. I spoke with a gentleman by the name of Jose, I believe. Jose was very helpful. He sent me a replacement in the mail. I received it less than a week, and I was on my way. So Uzi backs up their products, guys, and that's another thing that I really like. When you pay $30 for a pen, you want to be able to have one that's going to work properly. Now, I want to say a little tidbit on this. The pen itself was not defective in my opinion. The pen functioned great. The problem was just the little ink cartridge inside. It must have had a crack or, been a bad ink cartridge. I don't hold that against Uzi because the pen itself, to this day, is just in perfect condition. The pen, the craftsmanship, the design and technology of it worked great. It was just a little ink cartridge inside. But like I said, they did a phenomenal job. They didn't ask me a lot of questions and quiz me up and down. The whole phone call was probably about 5 minutes. They were very courteous. So this is definitely a company that if I ever had the opportunity, I would love to go over some more of their pens. That's how much I believe not only in the pens, but also now that I purchased this pen and had a issue with the ink cartridge, they fixed it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now what I would like to do next, guys, is just to show you a few ways that might show you a little bit of how sturdy the pen is. So we're going to move over to a different location, and I'm just going to show you a couple of different ways that the pen could, or not how the pen could be used, but I'm going to show you a few ways that I'm going to strike it against different objects to show you the durability of the pen. So, okay guys, here we go. Okay guys, the first thing I want to show you today is just using it to puncture an orange. The reason I chose an orange is not because it's a very hard item, but in my opinion, if you were going to use this against an enemy, their flesh would, I thought, might be kind of the consistency, so to speak, of an orange. Give a little bit of soft texture, but a little bit rubbery. So I'm going to be using the gray one for this test here. So what I'm going to do is just try to give it a couple of stabs and see if the point on this pen actually works as well as what it should. So here it is, guys. It definitely punctures that without any problem at all. So if you were to give someone a tap in their arm with this or in their stomach, it would definitely make a clean little puncture there. Now, if you didn't want to harm someone too badly, then you might could try using the opposite end of this pen, which is more of a blunt force. So we'll put the engine there, and that put a pretty good sized hole in it right there with one stab. So that's what it looks like using it against something with a fairly hard rind to it, but at the same time kind of fleshy as well. Okay guys, the next item that I want to show you is using it to go into a tin can to see how well it does in something like this. So there is the puncture wound right here. So it seemed to go right through that can. In fact, the can kind of dented on me a little bit, and it weakened pretty quickly. But that right there is where the puncture actually went. See if I can get that in the camera for you there. So a tin can is definitely not a problem for it. So the next thing I thought might be kind of fun to puncture is just a water bottle. Let's just see how easy that is to use right here. Okay, so the hole, see if I can find it, is right there. So it definitely went through the plastic bottle without any problem as well. The next item I have here is going to be a soup can. So I thought I would see how well it would go through the back end of this. So far, obviously we haven't used it on anything too major, but the tip is not damaged at all. So let's try it on this can. There you go. That's not bad at all. That is a pretty thick piece of material right there, in my opinion. So the tip of the pen still looks perfect. One other item that I have here is a 2x4. So I thought this would be something pretty hard to be able to find out if this thing could use up against something fairly sturdy. Okay, so here we go. So there's the tip. There is no damage that I can tell from it. There's a couple little tiny scrapes of the paint, the color of it, but that's it. The tip of the pen still looks to be perfect shape. And there are the indentions in the wood. And I was giving it some pretty good little smacks there. Okay guys, so I'm pretty impressed with the capabilities of this pen puncturing items that are pretty hard, like the piece of wood, the soup can, the Coke can, and the water bottle. And even on the orange, even though the orange isn't a really hard item, the point was, I guess, designed well enough that when I hit the orange, it didn't just bounce off. It had a nice point that allowed it to penetrate. So here are the tips of both pens. This is the one that I used to hammer into the wood and all the other items, and here's the one that I did not. So I'll try to bring these in, and they still look great on both of them. So this is the one that was used, and it doesn't look any different than this one. Now, one thing I noticed once I was cleaning up the items that I was puncturing is as I was hammering the piece of wood, the pocket clip slid down the pen a little bit. So I raised it back up. But that's not a problem at all for me. That's the pocket clip slides up and down, adjust anyway. So now that's been kind of an idea of how the pen functions when it's used to hammer into items. So I want to show you, the pen is basically 2 or 3 different parts. Scoot up to where I can show you here. You're going to have the cap, which is this part here. And then the second part, which is the body, I guess, of the pen, it is made up of 2 separate pieces. So this piece right here just comes right off like that. And inside you have the ink cartridge with the typical little spring piece that a pen would have. And this can be replaced with a Fisher Space pen if you would like. It may not be real easy to see out here, but this is very smooth, very well designed in my opinion. And the pen goes back together very easily as well. Just slide the ink cartridge back in. There's the spring, and then the cap to cover up hold the ink cartridge in, and it just scrolls in. Inside here, actually, I wanted to show you. Right here, there looks like a little rubber gasket as well. So it keeps that in there nice and clean. Okay, and then you put the cap back on, and there you have it. Now, we're going to show you one other thing real quick, and that is how the pen writes. Okay guys, so that wraps up my review of the Uzi Tactical Striker pen number 11. I've been using this pen since SHOT Show 2016, so it's been about 6 months. Actually 7 if you really include the rest of January and part of July that we're in now. But hey, who's counting? But I have had a lot of opportunities to use this on a daily basis. Some of the pros that I have is I really like the pocket clip on it right here. I like the knurling on it because for me, it fits my hand really nicely. And I like this striker point. To me, that striker point is just a really nice tactical feature for this pen. I don't really have but one con to the pen, and that one con is simply that when I take the cap off, the number 11, it doesn't snap on real clean. You kind of press it on and it will hold, but you know, if you bump it with your hand. But that's not a deal breaker either, because I normally would take this and I would put it right on the little sunglass holder of my uniform at work, and it would actually just hang down so I wouldn't lose it. And then when I was done, I'd pull it off, put it back on. Whoa, I almost dropped it there. And then I would clip it right back onto my shirt. Now guys, I did pay for this pen. It wasn't given to me by Uzi to review, but I'm gonna attempt to purchase some more pens as time progresses, just to show you the different types and designs of pens that Uzi makes. So if you have any comments, feel free to share them below. And I really appreciate you guys watching as always. You guys have been so supportive of my channel, and I really want to say thank you. So you guys have a great day.